Alright, I'm back with another Destiny video after binging Outriders for a very long time. I think I'm done with that, other than farming legendaries for the next month by killing the same captain over and over on repeats. But today I wanted to talk about something similar in a different game, which is how farming is going in Destiny 2 Season of the Chosen. We kind of knew that there were going to be all these different new farming methods when the season started, but now we've been messing around for 3-4 weeks, something like that, and we can see how these farms have actually worked out in practice. I wanted to start with the Battlegrounds farm, which has been interesting. I really love the loot. The loot itself is, I think, the best seasonal loot they've had since Season of Dawn. The SMG is my favorite possibly ever, maybe since Recluse. It just feels amazing. The sidearm is a breachlight replacement. The sniper feels fantastic. The Code Duello rocket launcher, I have 3 masterworked versions of because it has all these awesome different roles you can get on it. And even though linear fusion's good, if they ever buff linear fusions. So we'll see about that. But the way to farm them has been, shall we say, arduous. It does not feel great to get like 9 Cabal gold a Gambit match or a Crucible match or however much it is and have to do 2, 3, 4 of those per run to get a single rune that gives you 2 hammer charges. I recently watched a video by Error that was sent to me that kind of blew my mind, where I'm probably going to write about this tomorrow because it's such a good PSA, but like he essentially says that there is no real reason to ever focus tier 2 or tier 3 umbrals for weapons because you have pretty much the exact same odds of getting the weapons you want based on the number of hammer charges you're using, only you're getting far fewer bonus weapons that could also be god rolls. Like if you just do tier 1s, you're getting like 6 weapons total. If you do tier 2s or tier 3s, you're getting 1 or 2 weapons for the same amount of hammer charges. And like it sounds better because it reduces it to a 50-50 chance, but like in practice, the math says you should not do anything but tier 1s. And he explains it better than I do. I'll write an article and link his video and stuff. But in short, like that's not a good system. Like they should have kind of figured that out, and there should be a bonus to focusing tier 2 and tier 3s. The bonus, I guess, with tier 3s is the alternate perks, but again, like that's, unless you're like really hunting for something that can flip between a PvP and a PvE role, I don't see that being worth 5 hammer charges per thing, and it might not even be the one you want, so you might spend 10 hammer charges to get maybe 1 drop that you're actually looking for the right type of weapon. And you would be much better off just spending those hammer charges on individual weapons from the tier 1s. So that's not a great system. I think the umbral system needs a lot of work, and it needs to be expanded other places to, say, Iron Banner, where there is no focusing and no target farming of any kind. I would also like to see it for some of the vendors and the world loot weapons. You can focus it to like get a world loot weapon right now, but that's it. Nothing past that. So it still needs some work. It's a bit different than what we have with the Nightfalls, which are very targeted farms, and I have enjoyed farming the Nightfalls. I guess I'm a little underwhelmed with the loot. The Palindrome is probably what people would classify as the best Nightfall weapon that you can get right now. You really kind of have to like hand cannons for that to be the thing you're really going after, but this is also a season that gave us Adept Igneous Hammer and Bottom Dollar. So I just don't know if Palindrome can keep up with those. Shadow Price, I've gotten a lot of god rolls of Shadow Price, quasi-god rolls at least, but the problem is 450 auto rifles are terrible, so I have no real use for my awesome Shadow Price, which is getting outperformed by my Extraordinary Rendition SMG at every turn, so I guess I'll have to wait for those to get buffed. I got a really fun Swarm that's Surplus Dragonfly. There aren't really like god roll MGs, like you never really hear people talk about god roll MGs. They're kind of just in a weird spot. Like they can be good for mob clearing, popping shields and certain nightfalls, things like that, and then as a heavy in Crucible for hunting people down with 1 clip. But it's hard to get super excited about like a legendary MG roll. There's just not a ton to go off there, and now that we are not sunsetting anymore, we still have ones like 7th Seraph Saw and Commemoration from the raid, so I just don't know if like the Swarm is like this amazing thing to chase after. I do like, however, just the fact that these exist. I like that in double Nightfall rewards week, like you can get just loads and loads of drops of these, and they're perk pool is pretty limited, so it's fairly easy to get a good roll on these. It's kind of weird because like you're getting rolls on these, but then you're like, yeah, but it's not adept, and so then you have to wait for Grandmaster to get the super adept version of it. I guess that's true of Trials, but you don't really farm the same way in Trials that you do with Nightfall. So it feels a little fruitless to farm the ones now that aren't adept. But then again, I don't think any of these are really hyper standout weapons in my estimation. But I don't know. Some people may love them. I haven't really connected with them that much. Then we have the playlist weapons, which are they're pretty good, but getting them has been such a pain that Bungie has already said that they will be eventually increasing drop rates on those. I just wish there were some small changes. Like I think you should get drops of these like as you kind of rank up in these different playlist activities. Like if you are ranking up with Shax, you should be able, if you reset, you should be able to pick between a Keening and a Frozen Orbit drop or things like that. Same for Gambit. Because right now, just endlessly playing the playlist to try and farm them is like a recipe for a bad time. The good news is like there are a lot of really good ones in there. Royal Chase, I think, is probably the best rocket launcher in the game. The only problem is that it's extremely hard to get the roll you want because like all of these weapons, there's about 12 perks in every slot. The rocket launcher is less because there just aren't that many rocket launcher perks, but it is ridiculously, it's like I think it's like a 1 in 36,000 chance to get the exact roll of a weapon you want based on how many slots there are and how many, how often these drop. The pulse rifle I haven't really been blown away by for compared to similar ones. I'm using Time Worn Spire all the time now, so it's hard to compete with that. And obviously Messenger. And another adaptive is like, okay. Gambit, the bottom dollar is obviously the most sought after weapon in these playlists. A very powerful 120 hand cannon that it is very hard to get good rolls on. And then I've enjoyed the fusion. I don't know if it's no Glacioclasm or anything like that, but I'm trying to get one. I think it is Vorpal and it can get other stuff, so maybe it could be good for PvE. And then Crucible, I love Keening. I'm a big sidearm person, so I'm a huge fan of Keening, which has been, I still don't really have like a great roll on it, but I'm looking for one. And Frozen Orbit, I don't snipe very much, but I hear that's a good sniper. I don't know if it's better than Far Future or not, but people seem to like it. In general, I think adding more playlist weapons, and Bungie seems like they're going to add more of these, is a good idea. And I very much think that this is a fundamentally good addition to the game. I just think the drop rates are a little low right now based on the ridiculously huge perk pool these weapons have. I understand that they're long-term grinds, and it did get better now that we know Sunsetting's dead, because even if it is a grind that takes you months and months to get the one you want, you're going to be able to keep it for years now, and Sunsetting is no longer a thing, so you don't have to be scared about that. So I do think this makes the grind a little better there. I've also been surprised with the grinds I didn't really think about. I've I haven't grinded like Blind Well or what's the other one? Altars of Sorrow for like the new kind of reprised Moon and Dreaming City weapons, but I have rerun the dungeons. I got a Killing Wind Rampage pulse rifle from the Moon dungeon, which I cannot remember the name of right now. Which is just cool, and I've run some of those for the Moon one. Gives you like really high stat armor with like really good distributions usually, unless you get resilience. But that's been fun, and what I'm grinding for now is like I'm doing things like I'm going back to Prophecy to try and get the full Dido set, because I never got that before, and now that Transmog is almost here, that's something I want, because I want all of those pieces for my characters because it's a good set, and so that's kind of a side grind I've been doing with Transmog on the way. And there are a few activities you can do that for now, like if you want to get the full Prophecy armor sets if you don't have all of them on all your characters, things like that, just for Transmog. But I think all of the grinds have felt better now that Sunsetting is going away and players no longer have to stress out about, is it worth investing this much time because this has an expiration date of 9 months from now or whatever it was going to be. That has dramatically helped just like the mental aspect of farming. Like I don't feel like, even if I will probably be using new weapons 9 months, 12 months from now, it just feels better, and like there's a weight lifted from the game where there is no expiration date on these items. And Again, like I think there was a way to do this right, probably sunsetting a lot fewer weapons than we've seen, and then adding a whole lot of new ones, but they didn't do that, and so everything is not really gone to plan. But the fact that it's going away now has really helped the game, really helped farming, and yeah, it's the farming has been a little frustrating with the umbral system not being where it needs to be, and the drop rates on the playlist weapons and the Nightfall weapons being underwhelming. So like each of those have their own kind of problems, but in general, like I like these systems, and I just think they need to be tweaked a little bit. Like the umbral system needs tweaking. I want to see more, Nightfall weapons other than just these three. I mean, 450s auto rifles need a buff, things like that. And then for the playlist weapons, they're going to increase the drop rates, I think, by the end of the season, or maybe in a couple weeks here. So we'll see what that feels like. And then, I mean, if they keep adding playlist weapons, it feels good to be like, okay, I'm playing Crucible, but before there was really no reason to do it. But now we have both the reset system, which gives you actual materials that you need, and playlist drops for at least the reset system and playlist drops for Gambit and Crucible. So it feels like you at least have the chance of something dropping. You at least are kind of making progress. Like that is all good additions to these playlists. Strike playlist is up next. It needs an overhaul, which they didn't do yet, but I would assume that's coming next season. We'll see. But yeah, those are my kind of thoughts on how farming is going right now. I am enjoying it. I didn't even talk about like the old farms coming back, like the lost sectors. I think the lost sectors could use a bit of reprisal because I just ran them to get the 3 new items, then I never really went back to them because it's pretty much easier to just farm double Nightfall weeks for exotic drops and stuff. So I like those in theory. I just think that could use a little work. But in general, I think all these avenues are good. They just need some modification. And the loot, especially the Battlegrounds loot, I am very impressed with. It's fantastic, and that's why I've masterworked probably like 12 different Battlegrounds weapons at least this season already, and we'll see how many I get to by the end. But no Evie cameo today. I'm sorry she didn't run up. She is hanging out with my wife downstairs, who is more interesting than me in my video here. So gotta stay tuned next time. Can't give you Evie every time, or else you'll get complacent. So that's how it goes. But yep, I'll see you guys soon. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. My channel's been really fun to contribute to and to do this every day now with almost daily videos, and it's been very fun to grow. But if you haven't subscribed yet, I would appreciate it. And yeah, I will see you guys soon. Take care.